get this far with all the injuries. So what are your thoughts there?
Well, I think they're one of the most well-coached team in our league. Obviously, you know what I've said about Brad Stevens before, and his ability to get the most out of his guys. How great they are out of timeout, late clock situation as well. No matter who's on the floor and no matter who's played for them, he can put guys in a position to succeed and get the most out of who's ever been in their lineup, for the past few years. It's not just this year. I think it's been a little bit overblown this year because of the names that's been out, obviously, with Kyrie and Gordon and, the injuries with those two big guys. But he's gotten the most out of everybody he's ever put in his position since he's got to Boston pretty much a few years ago.
So you said that it's been a little overblown.
Yeah, because it's a lot of people are saying, well, how can they succeed like this without Gordon Hayward? I've heard that, and I mean, he's been out since the first quarter of game one.
Right.
So it's like, do we even know who they would have? He's not even been on the team, so we can talk from potential, but he's been out since the first quarter of game one in Cleveland. I get it with the Kyrie thing. He's obviously a teammate of mine for 3 years, and I know what he's capable of doing. But they got guys that's damn good, and no matter if they're young or not, they know how to play basketball, and their coach know how to put them in position to succeed.
So I wanted you to compare though what they have gone through with their injuries versus everything you've gone through.
Well, I don't know because I'm not an inside track guy as far as with Boston, and I just know our season has been a few in all in one. Obviously, we've had a different makeup of teams throughout the whole season. We've dealt with a lot of injuries as well throughout the whole season, either from the beginning of the season, up until we just got full health, pretty much, before the postseason. Then we've dealt with some in the postseason as well, but we've overcome that. So, at the end of the day, it's a team game, and we sit in a position where we want to just play as well as we can, no matter if we have injuries or not.
LeBron, because of Boston's history, and obviously you have history with them in the playoffs, do you relish this chance to play against them in the postseason?
And that doesn't matter for me. I relish the opportunity to be able to play the game that I love and be able to compete at the highest level, and that's being in the NBA. I've been fortunate in my 15-year career so far to be playing a lot of big games, and that's what I relish. So it doesn't matter the team that I play against, honestly.
Do you have a favorite memory of facing Boston in the postseason at all?
I don't know.
What does the 5 days in between series do for you personally?
I don't know. I don't really try to overblow it or overthink it too much. I got an opportunity to get some rest, but I also got 3 kids as well, so so it's not like I could just sit around and just take off. I mean, I can't take off. But it gave me an opportunity for 36 hours to kind of just decompress and not really have to worry about the game too much. But it's weird because I was sitting with some friends when I was watching the Western games, and then I was watching the Boston game on Wednesday, and I find myself getting mad at some of the things that's happening on the floor, and I'm like, oh, you're supposed to be just relaxing right now. So, I really can't ever just kind of relax. So, but it did give me a little opportunity just to kind of chill out a little bit.
What makes you mad when you watch the game?
I can't tell you that.
You came out pretty strongly in favor of Fizdale when he was let go in Memphis, and now he got the job in New York. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I'm happy for Fizz, obviously. He gets an opportunity to showcase what he's about. I think he's a good coach, a good communicator. He's never going to shy away from whatever he feels is right. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I don't speak for the Knicks at all, but I'm happy for Fizz.
Back to what we were talking about at the top of this. You guys have had chaos here this year, every year. Is chaos part of the culture here? And do you guys kind of know how to live in it?
Is chaos part of it? No, no, it's not. It just happened to happen sometimes. But no, I think for us, we just trying to get better and figure out what the main thing is, and that's how we can continue to help each other improve every day to try to compete for a championship. So, if you want to have a little chaos and you still compete for a championship, I'm all for it.
We keep referring back to the Indiana series as far as how their physicality was. Do you think that Boston's matches that more than what Toronto gave you last series?
What do you mean by? What do you mean by?
Defensively, like just being pressure and on ball and beating in guys.
I thought Toronto did that as well. Kyle Lowry got into our ball handlers. Van Fleet got into our ball handlers. They picked up the intensity as well. So that's what the postseason is all about. And you wouldn't expect anything less.
You mentioned how well you know Kyrie. What do you make of the way that Rozier has stepped in and filled in for him?
I'm not surprised. I've been watching Terry since he was a freshman in high school. He's been a confident. He was a confident kid then when I watched him at Shaker, and he's a confident player now. So I'm not surprised. He's gotten better and better. I thought it was a steal when they drafted him out of Louisville, and he's just showcasing his ability. So, when you add the confidence, but you also get the opportunity, it gets to showcase what he's capable of doing. So everybody's going crazy off what he's doing, but I'm not. He's a local guy. I've seen him for a while now.
When you break down teams, you often talk about the head of their snake. Who is that for Boston?
As far as what?
Well, usually you use that to either refer to someone's best player or the player that makes the rest of the team go. So when you look at the Celtics, and if you were going to say, well, this guy's the head of their snake, who is that?
I got a couple.
Ron, how well do you know Tatum?
Not as well as I've known him when he was much younger. When his dad used to bring him around when I used to play with Larry Hughes, and we actually I remember actually being on the floor with him one day, and you can just. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you can see that he was going to be a pro, how those corny stories come out. Or you can see he was just happy to be around, NBA guys, and you wanted to play ball. And but I've watched him ever since, he entered kind of the high school ranks and was as dominant as he was in high school. And obviously going to Duke and being dominant the year that he was there, and he's showcasing what he's, able to do at this level too. So, he's first of all, more than his game, I think he's a great kid. And his dad, I know his dad more than I actually know Jayson. His dad is a stand-up guy as well, and he comes from a great family. So the game speaks for itself.
This team's had multiple instances where they've run into Al Horford. What do you think about how he's upped his play for the Celtics, and what's the challenges that come defending him?
He's the rock. He's their rock. Al Horford is always even keel. He's the multi-year all-star. He's been in big games. He's been in big series. Things get chaotic. They know they can always kind of go to Al to do something. He's going to make the right play. Either he's going to make a pass that sets somebody up. He's going to make a play offensively for himself. He's going to make a defensive play. So, he's their rock, and he never gets rattled throughout the whole game. So. It's definitely a hell of a safety net, that Boston has.
LeBron, Ty and Kyle talked about how great the Boston crowd is. Is it different playing there?
I don't know. It's different from every place is different than home. Just the history. You look up in the rafters, you see all the greats that's either played there or obviously the previous arena they played in. It's a sports town. I mean, you look at the Patriots, you look at the Bruins, you look at the Red Sox, you add them. I mean, look at all that history. I mean, it's just a sports town. So, if you're not green, they don't really, they don't mess with you.
LeBron, when you guys finished up the regular season heading into the postseason, you guys were going to go into the postseason with a roster that wasn't healthy during the regular season all at one time. You guys have now won 7 of the last 8. Are you surprised how quickly you guys have gelled with these these new lineups, if you will, and what do you attribute to the success that you guys have had?
No, we're just trying to play the right way because, listen, at the end of the day, you can win 7 out of 8, and then you can lose 3 out of 4, or 4 out of 5, and your season's over. So, listen, you take one day at a time. We want to continue to get better and better. I think defensively we've been very good in the postseason. Offensively, we've been up and down from the Indiana series, and on. So, we just want to try to continue to get better in this series and get better with each and every game and see how we can continue to play well.
Dwayne was fired today, and all of social media is blaming you for it. And when so many franchises, the long-running narrative with you is you've destroyed all of these teams that can't get through you, and then Dwayne gets fired because he keeps losing to you. What do you make of that? What do you think about that when you hear that all these teams are blowing up and because they can't get through you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not a one-man army. I've been fortunate enough to play with 2 great franchises in my career and play with some really, really good players. And we had some success in the postseason, and I've had a lot of success in the postseason. I don't know. I don't really get involved in the narrative of social media. I'm the last guy to ask about what people are saying on social media. That's not a field of my life at all. So it sucks that with the great season that they had and I'm just going off my own mind right now, just looking at the level of success they've had over the last 4 years maybe. He's been there maybe 4 or 5 years, I believe. 7 years. Probably within the last 5 years, I bet they've improved in probably winning percentage every single year. And but I guess their front office wants playoff success, and that's what it boiled down to, I guess.
Those West postseason games, what was your feeling or thought process seeing Chris Paul have that closeout game and get to the conference?
It was everything. It was everything. We talked throughout the whole postseason, after every game, either my game or his game. So to see how that game was going, Utah was making that run. Donovan goes down, and then they kind of still made a push, and James was struggling a little bit offensively. You can tell CP was like, nah, I'm not going through this again. I'm about to take this thing over. And CP, obviously, I know him, and he knows himself, and you guys know him. He's not a shoot-first guy, but he was not allowing that thing to go back to Utah, and he took over offensively, and it was great to see. I'm happy for him. He's a brother of mine, so I'm happy to see him finally get to the conference finals.
This is your 8th straight conference finals. If you're fortunate enough to win, it'll be 8 straight finals. And the guys that you're chasing for the record there will be hanging in the rafters in Boston, their numbers. Have you reflected on any of this yet, or will you just the idea of 8 straight conference finals, 8 straight finals?
No, I haven't reflected on it, but I do know that this is my 8th straight conference finals, and I have an opportunity to play for a championship if I'm able to be successful. So in this conference finals, so I don't take that for granted. And listen, you dream about being able to play in big games in the NBA. Even when I got to the NBA, was one of my only goals, to be as great as I can be, to play in big games in the NBA and be remembered. And I think I've done that, in my career, and I'm just trying to add on to it while I can.
LeBron, how the first 2 rounds prepare the young players to get ready for the Eastern Conference?
Like I say, experience is the best teacher in life, and our young guys who've never been a part of the postseason until now, they've got some experience, in 11 games so far. So they have at least 4 more, that's for sure. So that'll be 15 games for them, and we see what happens.